you want to give it a couple of minutes, or will I just start? Oh no, here he is. Sorry, he's on the call now.
Yes, here now.
Okay. Right, thank you, convener. Good afternoon all. Please note that the public section of the meeting will be recorded and published online for public access after the meeting. Can I please ask that all attendees switch off their camera and mute their microphone when they're not speaking, and the camera and microphone should be switched on, however, when you are invited to speak. If you would like to ask a question or contribute to the meeting, please indicate by using the raise hand feature in Teams or by typing into the meeting chat, and I'll let the convener know. Alternatively, you can verbally indicate your wish to speak if it's not possible to raise your hand or message, or you can signal by activating your camera. For those only observing the meeting via Teams, please do not activate your camera and make sure your microphone is muted. And then I'll just take a quick roll call to confirm who's on the call so that it's clear in the recording of the meeting, and it can also be recorded in the minute. Convener?
Here.
Vice Convener?
Here.
Councillor Cameron?
Present.
Councillor Copeland?
Present.
Councillor Graham?
Here.
Councillor Hutchison?
Here.
Councillor MacDonald?
Here.
Councillor Reynolds? Councillor Reynolds?
Here.
Oh, thank you. And Councillor Yule?
Here.
And I'll just go on to the trade union advisors now. David Willis?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry.
It's okay. Kevin Masson?
Here.
Les Tarr?
Here.
George Ferguson?
Here.
Thomas White? No. Carol Thorpe?
Good afternoon.
Ron Constable?
Here.
Joe Craig?
Present.
And Liam Knox?
Present.
Okay, I believe that's everybody, convener. Thank you.
That's fine then. Thank you for that, Steph. This is our first all action meeting that everybody's coming into, and welcome to the meeting. But I'm sure you'll bear with us, and hopefully we'll get through and that everybody will be able to participate who wish to do so. We have got one or two folk helping me with the hands up, but hopefully we should get through this afternoon. In that case, if we can address ourselves to the agenda, there are no notifications of urgent business. There is no exempt business. Are there any declarations of interest? I see no hands. You see no hands. That's fine, Steph. In that case, we'll go over the page. There are no deputations today. The minutes of the last meeting is item 3. Oh no, that's a declaration one. The minutes are at 5.1. Is there any issues with the minutes? People content that that's a correct minute? Agreed. No hands going up. That's fine. In that case, we move on to 6.1, which is the planner. And I'm going to ask Isla to come in here. Isla Newcomb, she has something to say on the planner.
Thank you, convener. It was just to draw attention to the fact that pre-Christmas, we conducted a staff survey entitled Future of Work, and the team since then have been analysing the results of that survey. And although it's not on the business planner currently in the form that committee are seeing today, I would, if it would be okay with yourself, convener, I would propose that we put an item on for April so that the committee can consider actions and next steps as a result of this survey. In the meantime, what we would be doing is circulating a service update so that committee have the results in advance of April.
Thank you for that. That sounds grand to me. Is there, oh, yes, Councillor Cameron, I think that's your hand up.
It is convenient. No, sorry, maybe I was too premature there. I'm quite happy with that. It was just a question I had on the planner.
Okay, but you're content with putting this item onto the planner,
Yes,
and
yes.
you will get them the information at our next meeting. Okay, that's fine. Thank you for that, Isla. Yes, what's your question on the planner?
Okay, it's under page 9, number 5, internal recruitment and internal movement of staff. Obviously, this is a delayed report. It should
Yes.
have been in November. I do understand why it's delayed, but I'm also aware of the fact that over the last 10 months or so, there has been a lot of temporary movement of staff. And I wondered if it'd be possible at least to maybe get a service update on the effects that's had. Because I know that there's been a lot of work done on that, and it'd be interesting to see how effective or otherwise that has been.
Okay, do you want to comment on that, Isla? Thanks for the question.
Thank you, convener. I would be more than happy. I can consider whether it would be a service update or whether perhaps to include some of this into the report that's due to come to committee in April. I can discuss that obviously with the convener offline, but either way, more than happy to ensure that committee is cited on information relating to temporary movement over the period of the last year.
No, I'm absolutely delighted with that. Either way, whichever is going to be easiest for Isla and our team. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Have we any other questions on the planner? No, in that case, we'll move on to motions, of which we have none today. Referrals from council, we also have none today. That gets us to the 2 reports that are under general business. That's 9.1. Clusters Risk Register. Have we got any comments or questions on this report? Yes, Sandra. Councillor MacDonald, sorry.
Thank you very much, convener. My question, I suppose, was around the assurance map and relating back to the risk that we have on page 17 and 18 around the delivery package, in which it's made mention that there's a business continuity plan. And I just wondered whether it would be something that we could add into the assurance map and just to reflect that, if that would be possible, convener.
Yes, Isla, do you want to comment on that one?
Absolutely, thank you, convener. Appreciate the feedback, and it makes absolute sense. The assurance map and the risk register are reviewed regularly at P&OD's senior management team meetings, and it's an iterative process. We're looking to continually improve on that. It makes sense to include business continuity plans, so I'm happy to take that feedback away.
Happy, Councillor MacDonald? Yes, thank you. Councillor Cameron, you did have your hand up, but it seems to have gone down. Was that a similar question that you wished to ask?
No, it's gone down because my question is in relation to 9.2, convener. Apologies.
Okay, in that case, are people content to approve the recommendations at 7.1, at 9.1, sorry?
Agreed.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that's fine. Thank you. In that case, Councillor Cameron, no, 9.2. I'll bring Colin in first to introduce his report. Are you there?
Yes, sorry. Good afternoon, everyone. You've got the report in front of you for the period July to September last year, which was initially given as a service update. And this is an opportunity for anyone in the committee to ask questions that they have based on that.
Okay, that's fine. Well, Councillor Cameron, you come in now.
Right, and my mud.gov is just falling out again, so I think I can manage it without that, though. That's the second time since the beginning of the meeting, so that's a record. It's on page 29, I think, just at the top of it. It's in relation to audits have been carried out on our own assets in relation to compliance with COVID protocols. And I note that 8 had been carried out in this period from June to July. During that period of time, the schools weren't open, and we have a lot of schools that are assets. And my question really is, from September to December, I know we will eventually get that report, but in the circumstances, from September to December, when the schools were open, how many more visits have we actually carried out to ensure that we do have COVID compliance in our assets?
Okay, yes, it is the top of page 29, Councillor Cameron, you're quite correct.
Thank you
Colin.
very much, Convener.
Okay, Colin, do you want to answer that?
Hello, yes, a couple of things on. So on compliance visits to open Aberdeen City Council properties, we have been round everyone that's been open and carried out at least one visit to them in the period from July to date. We're now going back around all of the properties and doing revisits, looking as well as at the physical setup as work behaviours as well. So actually, how are people working to do with it on that? But to pick up on your education point, we're doing visits to schools where requested by the head teacher. And that's partly because of the fact that we're trying not to put people into schools and keep them as isolated units. But to give Councillor Cameron assurance, there were 5 visits done between the period of October to December by the Health and Safety Executive to our schools. So they carried out a number of telephone visits, and then they did 5 physical visits to primary schools and secondary schools and gave feedback on what they'd found and whether they'd found any large issues. And to give it a spot before you ask the question, they didn't find anything of major concern to them. And any small elements they've said we've now since implemented. And that's been spread out across the rest of the school estate as well. Sorry, breathe.
Yes, Councillor Cameron, do you want to come back in?
Yeah, just to say thank you very much for that, Mr. Lever. That's I'm happy enough for that. It's just knowing that we're moving forward. I know everybody's under a lot of pressure, and I know that with COVID regulations having to be enforced by environmental health, they're under even more pressure. So it's good to know that everybody's working as a team. Thank you very much for that.
It's comforting to get the update. Thank you for your question. Oh yes, Gordon Graham, Councillor Graham.
It's just a quick question. If someone catches COVID when they're at work, how's that reported? Is that a radar accident or is it over 5 days or what?
Right, so Isla's probably better able to say how it's reported within the organisation, so we know about it. But I'll give it a try, and Isla can actually correct me if I'm wrong on it. So if any member of staff either has symptoms or tests positive, they're required to record it on our core HR system. And once a week, we look through, well, we look as an overview of all those instances, and we look to see if there's any work-related element of it. So just in case, if one person in an establishment has coronavirus, the likelihood is that that's been caught outside the establishment and brought in. Okay, it's where there are more than one incidents within that establishment that we realise, hang on, it could be work related, and then what we do is we do we'll call it an investigation, but they're not face to face, they're over the telephone, we're discussing with people. So we look at that and decide whether or not it needs to be reported to HSE, and it's reported as a disease. Sorry, they're trying to be too complicated. So it'd be reported as a disease, and up till now we've had one instance that we've had to report.
Okay, Councillor Graham, are you content? Oh, Isla, you want to add to that?
Thank you, Convener. It was just to add, I suppose, that there is clear guidance on this for staff and for managers, as you would expect. Obviously, the first port of call would be to speak to a line manager if you either have symptoms whilst at work or you are going to be off self-isolating and booking a test. Once that test result has come back, then, as Colin recognises, either it's an isolated incident, in which case it's simply recorded through our core HR system, or if it looks as though there may be linked cases, i.e. there may be a concern that there are 2 people who may have influence each other in the workplace, that's where we need to keep very close track on things. And if we do get to positive test results where it looks as though there may have been in-work contact, and of course that's done through the Test and Protect system, then that's where we would be in touch with public health. So my team through employee relations and obviously Colin through health and safety are very much in touch with the managers where there is more than a single isolated incident, and we have that conversation with public health. That means that we have the assurance that we've taken all the necessary steps as per Scottish Government guidance to ensure the safety of staff within that workplace. If then at that stage there's a consideration that there was a link in the workplace, that's where Colin and the team would consider a report to HSE.
Thank you for that, Isla. Does that answer your question, Councillor Graham?
Yeah, that's fine. Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Okay, that's fine. Councillor Copeland, you were next with your hand up.
Thanks, Convener. It's just a very quick one. On page 25 at 311, one employee injured. Was it a serious injury or minor injuries or what?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Colin, do you want to come in on that one?
Sorry, Councillor Copeland, could you tell me the page number again, please?
Yes, it's at very top of page 25. It's 311.
Oh, okay. Right, so those would be what we call a RIDDOR incident. So you're required to report certain instances to the Health and Safety Executive. So this one was for an employee who slipped and fell backwards and landed on his bottom and their wrist, and it caused them to be off for 7 days or longer. And if it's for longer than 7 days, it requires us to make a report. So the employee was hurt, but not, from my knowledge, serious enough to be 7 days, but not from something that would be life-changing or life-threatening.
That's fine. Thank you for that. I've got one other, if I may.
Yes, please.
On the fire risk assessments. I mean, obviously, we've got a rolling programme on these. And I know it's basically a bit of how long's a bit of string, but have we got something in place for catching up, or we're just going to resume when possible?
Sorry, the idea was in the period November and December, we'd actually started doing the fire risk assessments again. But given the total lockdown in January, we've decided that the risk would best be being delayed, and we're going to start as soon as the current restrictions finish again. But to answer your question, we're just going to do we're just going to start the rolling period again. It's the only way that, with the level of resource I have, that we can actually realistically do it and keep on doing COVID visits and all the other things that need to be done.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Councillor Graham, your hand is still up. Is that just you haven't taken it down, or do you have another question? That's it. That's fine. I can't see any more. Can anybody else see any more? Oh, here we go. Joe, can you come? You've got a question. Joe Craig.
Thanks, thank you. It's just for Colin. Colin, regarding the RIDDOR reports, have we got any RIDDOR reports directly relating to COVID at present?
The one that I said in response to the previous question, so we've had to make one report to HSE about a case of COVID that wasn't isolated.
Okay, that's fine, Colin. Thank you. Thanks, Camille.
Okay, you're welcome. I just want to make sure that everybody gets in with this system of hands skating about all over the place. That seems like it all to me. Yes, Colin.
Yeah, just that I had a thought to further answer Councillor Cameron's question about compliance visits. What we're also doing is on a Friday, when we're discussing the instances that are coming up or the cases of coronavirus, if we identify at any point on that, well, hang on, we'd like to do a compliance check on that just to make sure everything's okay, that's another spur for us doing a compliance check. So we're doing a proactive approach plus also reactive as well if we see some reason to actually do the visit.
Okay, thank you for that extra staff. That's all good, thank you. I know the staff are hard pushed just now, but they're working well, and our thanks to them for the efforts that are going on, and that's going a bit extra. But that being the last item, can we agree the recommendations, please? Yeah, agreed. Please saying no, that's fine. That being the last item, can I thank you for your attendance? You've got off, I have just a wee comment for you. You've got off lucky today. Just have a check on the planner and you'll see what's going to happen in April. I think we'll take a wee bit longer then. But in the meantime, thank you for your attendance today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.